All right, well, looking at the action in Tesla this morning, shares are up just like 1%, kind of a muted reaction. A lot of us thought this was a big deal. Does this a sign that Tesla shareholders never really thought he was leaving, the fact that we're not seeing a bigger jump in the stock?
Yes, I think that for Tesla shareholders, this was very much the case that they wanted to tie him to the company. I don't think anybody seriously believed that he was going to leave. However, the pay package and tying him to the company clearly has been a crucial factor. Given the stock's price movement, I think it's more to do with the general sort of volatility that we've seen over the last few days versus this particular decision.
Okay. When we're looking at this pay package, it's very important to note it's potentially $1 trillion. He has to hit a number of milestones to get to that point, as we hit on an $8.5 trillion market cap, car deliveries, robotics, and everything else. How confident are you, as someone who obviously has ETFs tied to the company, that he's going to actually hit these metrics and get up to that potentially $1 trillion pay package?
Well, I think this is probably the crucial takeaway for anybody, when we talk about CEO pay packages, is that this is a merit-based package. In other words, that it's all very well talking about $1 trillion and these numbers, which sound, utterly fantastic, but there are some serious milestones that have to be met in order to get there or to get anywhere close to that. And so some of those would be, 1 million robo-taxis put into the market, 1 million Optimus robots. Remember that the Not One has in the market at the moment, 20 million vehicle deliveries. So there's a very steep milestone package here to get to $1 trillion.
Well,
I mean, if anybody
really quick,
can do it, he can do it.
Will, is it that steep, though? Because if you look a little bit deeper in this, there's a number of what they call covered events in this pay package. And you're laughing because the covered events include wars, which obviously happen, pandemics, which don't happen that often, but also things like changes to international, federal, and state law, and government action or inaction. Pretty much anything that could happen is covered in here, and then Elon Musk still gets a lot more shares. What do you mean? I mean, is it really that tough? Are these hurdles really that tough when these are kind of like the outs to some of the milestones?
I think maybe taking a step back, Frank, I mean, one thing that was, I think, very important to Elon Musk was getting more ownership of the company. And so this is a way to do that. I mean, I think that there are some milestones which are certainly achievable, which would give him an extra, a huge amount of shares, maybe around sort of $50 billion type value. So there are definitely milestones that are easier than others, but I think the overall package itself, I mean, the value created for Tesla shareholders, if that happens, is going to be massive.
All right. The big headline, or at least Elon Musk talking a lot about it, was the robotics business, the idea of growing it, growing the assembly lines. What did you make of that comment? How achievable do you see that as? And then also, as I mentioned, Morgan Stanley out with a note yesterday, seeing Apple over the next 15 years getting about 9% of the humanoid robot market. I didn't even know they were making one.
Look, I mean, this is really the change in direction, if you want to call it that. But now allowing the company to focus fully on AI and autonomous robotics, and we saw that front and center with these targets for 1 million deliveries of Optimus robots. And this is a product that obviously is not able to be purchased at the moment. So this would be a big step forward to not only release this commercially, but get to 1 million units sold.